Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to the Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Today, our guest is Lance Johnson. Lance, how are you today?
Very good, Qasim. Thanks for having me on your show.
That's awesome. So, Lance, let us know where you live and what you do.
I live in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and I own a company called AmploMedia, in which we help businesses in the B2B service side of things, basically acquire new customers and help them with their marketing efforts as well.
Awesome. So, what inspired you to start this business?
Well, that's actually a funny story. So in the early days, so it was 12 years ago when we started the business, and it started actually over a beer with a buddy of mine. At the time, I had another business, a business consultancy, in which we were helping businesses, work on their strategy and their business plan and kind of stuff. And I was busy on that. And my buddy who I was having a beer with, he was always complaining because he'd gone to school for illustration and for art and design, essentially. And he had such a big debt load out of school that he had to go work as a laborer for a big company here in the Edmonton region. And he just wasn't getting, that satisfaction from the work because he's a creative guy. He working on a backhoe wasn't something that he got a lot of satisfaction from, but it was paying the bills. And he kept complaining all the time about how much he hated his work, but he couldn't afford basically to take a lower paying design job to get into the design world. And so he just felt that his dreams were disappearing, were getting farther and farther away the longer he spent time on the backhoe. And I said, you know what? I have this client of mine on the strategy side that we've just revamped their whole strategy and we need to explain it in a better way. And I see these animated explainer videos out there that I think would be really interesting to do. If I were to write the script, would you be interested in illustrating it? And do you have a buddy from school who might be able to animate it? And he said, oh yeah, no, that'd be a lot of fun. And so we started doing this just basically on weekends and evenings. And we had, a lot of people liked them and the word kind of got out. And so then we ended up getting busier and busier. And I turned to him one day and said, I think we have a business here if we want to continue to push forward on this. And he said, yeah, let's get in on it. So basically I started it to stop this guy from ruining my peace and quiet having a beer because I wanted him to stop complaining about it, his dissatisfaction with his job.
Awesome. So have you ever find any gap in the market that you are filling in with this business?
Yeah, I mean, back in those days when we first started in the animated video space, there wasn't anybody locally who was doing that. So we had to go basically the two largest cities in Canada, that be in Vancouver or Toronto, to find anybody that was talented enough to pull these off. And they were really quite expensive, the agencies who were doing them. And so we found a very nice niche and continue to do a lot of these videos. Since those early days, we've expanded into helping people get eyeballs onto those videos. And then we expanded our services to be broader, basically a full service marketing agency, but with a real focus on lead generation and customer acquisition. And so the gap that we're feeling right now is that there's a lot of people out there who start their agencies from a design background or from a web development background or something like that, or an advertising background. That's not where I started it from. I started it from a business, development background, sales background. And so what we do is we're really conscious about connecting the marketing to the sales so that the sales team is empowered to close the business. And so we do a lot of really innovative things there to generate the leads and then close a very high percentage of those leads that come in the door with the tools that we use. So that's kind of our niche, or the gap in the market is that there's just isn't a lot of other marketing companies out there in the B2B service-based business side of things that do that well. And so we've been able to close it.
Awesome. So what are the biggest challenges you have faced till now?
Yeah, and this is the thing I think probably a lot of your listeners are going to be able to relate to, who have found themselves growing at a fairly fast rate. And that's the dream, right? As an entrepreneur, we always want to have thriving, growing businesses. But the flip side to that is that it's really difficult to manage that growth sometimes, both in terms of the staffing side of things, so recruiting the right team members and making sure that everything's rolling smoothly there. But we ran into two other problems. And one was that our systems that when we were smaller worked really well, But as we started to scale quickly, a lot of our systems broke. And that's one of the things I've learned from a lot of other entrepreneurs and mentors is just that the success of your business is going to be really driven by how refined your systems are. If you can systematize your business, you're going to be able to scale it. And I obviously didn't do a very good job of systematizing it at the beginning, or at least not anticipating the adjustments I needed to make to the systems as I was growing rapidly. So that was a big problem there. And that created a lot of inefficiencies within our business. And those efficiencies then really ate away at profitability. So that was one big problem. The other big problem that I faced was through that rapid growth, in order to fuel that growth, it takes a lot of capital, a lot of cash. And so we got into a pretty significant cash crunch, which was really scary. I mean, I lost a lot of sleep, or there was a lot of sleepless nights, I guess I should say, as I was navigating through that, trying to manage the cash flow, because things got really tight there for a while, simply because we were onboarding so many new staff members. And then, you know how it goes in this business, you end up, there's 30-day terms, 60-day terms, and so on out there. So the money isn't flowing in as quick as the cash is flowing out. So I had to right size that part of it and re-strategize around the cash flow. But once I got those two sorted out, it's been a lot better since.
All right. So just to understand more a little bit, who is your segmented audience? And like who you are addressing at this time?
Yeah. So like I mentioned, we target B2B focused businesses that are selling services. So think of like accountants, HR companies, IT consultants, coaches, like business coaches, business consultants, even lawyers and people, anybody who's selling some service to another business, basically. Those are the types of businesses that we really focus on. And we're a Canadian company, but most of our business development is actually done in the United States. And so that's where we're finding the biggest growth for us is in the US marketplace.
All right. So there is no distinction, like whatever the company is doing, like whatever their niche is, if they are doing e-commerce or they are handling real estate businesses or whatever they are doing, you are available for all.
Yeah, I mean, we do work with businesses right across the board. We even work with some businesses that do, consumer focused selling as well. But we don't do as much of that just because we are much more focused on the B2B space. And so e-commerce based businesses, we've worked with them in the past, but I guess superpowers lie is on those businesses who are trying to sell some sort of service to another business. And so I think the e-commerce, you guys know this. I mean, you guys really focus in that area, right?
Yeah.
And so it takes a certain level of expertise in each one of the niches to really deliver the results that your clients deserve. And so we feel that it's best for us to leave those kinds of clients to companies like yours who really focus on the e-commerce side of things. I think they're going to get a better product, better results at the end of the day while we focus on the services.
So what do you suggest, like how to retain the existing customers and keep finding the new ones as well?
Yeah, so it's two big challenges, right? That all of us businesses face is retention and then attraction. So from a retention standpoint, I mean, it really comes down to delivering on the results, right? We approach the way that we do our contracts with our clients. They're really just month to month. We don't lock people into long-term contracts. And so we actually make it as easy as possible for them to basically decouple from us, to fire us essentially, because I believe that our team needs to really work hard each and every month to retain that business. And if we're not doing a good job for them, if they're not getting the results that they expect or that we promised, well, then we really honestly don't deserve their business. So yeah, we make it really easy for people to leave us. And I think that pays off because it keeps our team really sharp. And so we're very focused on results each and every month. And that in turn then means that we have very long-term our clients without those long-term contracts because they're getting the results. Why would they move on, right? Why would they switch out from us? So that's on the retention side. On the attraction side, we drink our own Kool-Aid, so to speak. So, we do this for other businesses who are selling services to businesses. Well, that's exactly what we do is we sell our services to those businesses as well, right? And so we do all the typical lead generation things that most agencies are getting better and better at all the time. And so really focus on the full funnel development in each one of the niches that we want to focus on. We do a lot of work in LinkedIn as well. So reaching out to decision makers there, making the connections, and then starting that relationship and conversation. We deploy some automation tools in our marketing as well, which allows us to track what type of content our prospects, our leads are interacting with, and whether that's on our website or whether that's in social media. And then we use that information then to customize the type of content that we put in front of them, because it's all about communicating to them in a way way that it's the information you're giving them really resonates with them, that it really addresses a problem that they're faced with. And so if we can customize it, personalize it as much as possible, then we have a better chance then of that message resonating with them and them feeling like they're understood. They feel that we understand their problem, their pain point. And then it's really easy for us to, basically slide our solutions into that conversation because they're legitimately great solutions for what those problems are. And so by doing that, we're able to predict at which stage every one of our leads are at within the buyer's journey, within the sales funnel. And then we customize our messaging to whatever the need is at that stage. And that really allows us to amplify our conversions.
Awesome. So what are your thoughts on AI and its role and its impact on the businesses nowadays?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, this is something that all of us business owners really need to grapple with, right? Is how is AI going to impact our business? And so my view on it is that it's going to be a massive tidal shift for our industry, but for so many other industries as well. And if we're not at the very forefront of that change and really adopting it as best we can, there's going to be some other marketing company out there that's doing similar to what we're doing that are just going to eat our lunch. And so there's that quote that gets circulated quite a bit where AI isn't here to take your job, but the company that uses the AI is going to displace you, basically, right? And so we definitely need to be the ones who are embracing it. So we do a ton of research on it on a weekly basis because AI changes so much. There's so many new tools out there each and every week. And so we're evaluating tools constantly. So each of our department heads have that responsibility that they are reviewing whatever new is coming out on the market to see if it's something that we want to integrate into our company. And we're integrating it wherever possible.
Awesome. So what are your growth plans and expansion plans in short-term goals?
Yeah, for sure. So for this year, we slowed down our growth a little bit, just like I mentioned at the top of the podcast, where we were just really struggling with the rapid growth. So we've slowed that rate of growth down a little bit, but even at that, we're still looking at it'd be about another 25% growth this year in our overall sales revenue, so top line. But the real focus that I have for this year, for 2024, is improving our profitability. And so, we're really focused on doubling the profits off of the business that we are bringing in the door.
So because you are at this stage now, so I would like to understand, what's the time when we should think about increasing our margins instead of revenue?
I think the answer to that probably is you should be focused on that right from day one, right? Profit first. Mike Michalowicz, he talks about that you have to carve out the profit piece first and then divvy up the pie to the rest of your expenses after that. And that's something that I didn't do, which maybe I, in retrospect, probably should have done a better job of. And it's difficult, in today's environment, especially when we see so many of these companies out there who are focused on market acquisition at all cost, venture-backed companies where it's just it doesn't matter, how much it costs, just grab the market share and we'll figure out profitability later. And I think that works for companies who have a very low delivery cost as a percentage of their overall revenue model that they, think of SaaS companies and so on. But I think for service-based businesses like ours, profitability is something that we have to be looking at all the time. So I'd say you need to be careful with that. And I think you should be probably scaling both of them kind of equally, or at least having a sustainable margin at a bare minimum and getting to a place where you're comfortable. Now, for our business, where I feel that profitability piece really starts to come into play is when I had a head count enough where I myself could step out of the doing in the business and be focused much more on the working on the business. And so I was accepting a lower margin as I grew to that stage because I needed to have enough people in the business where I could hand some of the responsibilities off. And so for me, I think that was my trigger point where it's like, okay, we're at a size now where I have enough of that middle management in place. Now I can focus on the operational efficiencies. I can focus on the business side of things. That's when I really started shifting my attention to profit.
All right. That's beautiful advice as well, I believe. Let our viewers know where they can reach you and how they can reach you.
Yeah, for sure. So you can head over to our website, AmploMedia.com. That's AmploMedia.com. And you're going to be able to find our contact information there, or reach out out to me on LinkedIn, very active in LinkedIn. So Lance Johnson is my name there. And so you should be able to find me. And yeah, we also, I should mention, have a podcast called Amplify Your Business, in which we interview entrepreneurs very similar to this as well. And so I'd love it if your audience would check out that too. And that's found at amplifyyourbusiness.ca.
Thanks, Lance. That was a great conversation. I really enjoyed it. So thanks for coming today.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Lance. Have a good day. Bye.